Hello everyone, thank you again for coming on to my channel, and for today's video I would like to make a different prediction or suggestion for the Ayer Kuning election that's coming up perhaps in 2 weeks time after the nomination period. Now in the past video I have predicted that most in all probability UMNO would take the seat because simply the numbers game of the vote banks between Pakatan Harapan and Barisan Nasional. But since then, several things have happened that may have bearing on how the Ayer Kuning election may look. We see here, first of all, the issue of the Hindu temple relocation had sparked a great distress among the society. But that situation is mainly caused by the Malay social media influencers, as well as the independent preachers, and even, unfortunately, one particular mufti of a state. I did not really see the politicians from PAS or from any party fanning a lot of the flames of racial hatred, but this is certainly a case study of Malaysians themselves, meaning Malays and both non-Malays having a situation of mistrust and hatred for each other. Now, after that, there has been also several incidents in which one of them was the Zahid Hamidi's advice in a joking sort of manner to Akmal Saleh to not make any fights or to not take up any fights against anybody. And he did it in a sense of that looked like a joke, but that is a method of speaking when you are speaking about one person directly in front, and so that requires a kind of berseluruh methodology. The interesting thing here is the answer from Akmal Saleh. He arrogantly said that, well, as long as the other parties, whether they are from the unity government or from the opposition party, he will still defend Malay and Islamic issues. And we have seen how he always picks on DAP and Chinese, and most of them are from the unity government. He might as well put on the Perikatan Nasional shirt because everybody thinks that he is actually from Perikatan Nasional. And so we have a situation here where a person like Akmal Saleh, not just him alone, but what he represents. He represents the idea of encouraging and nurturing hatred among Malays and non-Malays. And many young people follow him and also follow his social media, and they are encouraged by his brazen attitude and mistaken it for a pahlawan or for a warrior stand. I've always maintained that he has been a coward ever since he began his career, because he has never said anything in front of the crowd of which like the Chinese or the Hindus, where he has to be there alone. Now, in the face of just speaking in front of the computer screen, or in the face of speaking in the Perhimpunan Agung UMNO, or in the face of just making a media statement, of course you are very, very vocal and seem like a pahlawan or a warrior. But the truth is actually very clear. He has no ideas, and he simply picks on people in order to be famous, and he has worked for him so far. People think that he is a buffoon, but actually he has a very strong strategy that is actually helping him make a name for himself. A name of what? A name of brazenness, a name of sometimes stupidity, like in the ham issue. But most of the time that there is no doubt that he is a popular politician. And so when we see that Akmal Saleh is not listening to Yang di-Pertuan Agong, who has repeatedly remind him of the situation of not agitating the harmonious relationship between our communities, he has not listened, of course, to Anwar Ibrahim, whom he thinks, well, not his leader perhaps. And surprisingly, he is also not listening to Zahid Hamidi. Many times there was statement from Zahid Hamidi, who cannot seem to be too talking down or too harsh to a person who is a very popular member of the UMNO party. And so I can understand the restraint that Zahid has put on to himself, although other people have blamed Zahid for agreeing to or secretly liking what Akmal is saying. But in the Malay culture, there is a certain way of advising people, and also to keep up their marwah or air muka, we call it, to make sure that they do not get embarrassed in this situation. And so I was looking at the idea that the Barisan National candidate, which is now an ustaz or religious personality, and also the Parti Islam Malaysia, obviously again choosing an ustaz. Now, for me, both this candidate signals a very, very worrying trend in Malaysia, a trend where ustaz with very, very low or narrow education training has done, is something that is very worrying. Of course, not all ustaz are very narrow-minded. I know Dr. Mujahid Rawa, very wide and very wise, and also Dr. Mazli Malik and several others who are very, very experienced and can have conversations on a wide range of issues. But there are many, many more who are so narrow-minded that they can only talk about halal and haram and cannot get their head away from that, thinking either it's halal or haram or is defending Islam. These are the things that they are teaching the Muslims, that you want to go to heaven. These are the only two things. Don't talk about development, don't talk about helping the poor of all communities, don't talk about having pensions for the senior citizen, don't talk about all that. Those are very, very little points in the akhirat or in the hereafter. So this is the message that seems to be going on or going around. Now, with the presence of Bawani KS, even though she was also the candidate in the previous election, but in this sense, Bawani KS is a person that people know from the past as a young lady who is courageous in terms of the listen incident, which is about 12 years ago. And I had a chance to meet Bawani when she became famous, and she came to a forum in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor Chinese Assembly Hall, of which I was there with my daughter, and we had to have a standing room only because there was no chairs left to actually meet her. And so I think that if the voters could give a signal to the UMNO people, especially to Akmal Saleh, that they will not tolerate such disrespect, they will not tolerate such encouragement of hatred between our societies, and that they will not also encourage disrespecting elders or actually any other people with this kind of hate politics. We look at Akmal Saleh, his famous phrases of sorry no cure, and that you better not say anything bad about Islam and Malay, you get a very fiery statement from this. If you have people like this, how are you going to manage the community or the nation in terms of having people who perhaps innocently misunderstand, or perhaps been doing something that they did not know, and you will have a very, very difficult situation then. Being a politician, yes, partly to raise the temperature in order to be effective, but most of the time it is about calming the situation, and it's about trying to make solutions have an amicable ends. We see how the temple relocation idea or incident had been solved amicably, and now we have again another issue of the Dengkel temple that may erupt in another kind of racial flame. And so if the voters of Ayer Kuning were to signal and give some votes to BAWANI KS, then that would actually signal that we have had enough of this kind of politics. And if an upset win, which is very possible because the Malay votes are split between the two ustas, they probably will be split right down the middle. And so votes from the non-Muslim will be most valuable for both parties. And this is something which can send a signal. Now, of course, the Perak government may be doing the usual things in election of paving roads, filling in potholes, perhaps giving bicycles free, and all sort of sago hati for elderly people. Well, this is normal politics for Malaysia. How to stop it? Well, I certainly do not know, because that is what people are actually expecting. And so that would be very difficult for any party like Party Socialist Malaysia to actually overcome this kind of juggernaut or this kind of machinery that is well entrenched, as well as the voter public who are used to the idea of what can you give me. Yeah. So the aspect of national politics, the issue of marwah, or the issue of what we call dignity, dignity between us, may not be something very well discussed. But it would be a nice thing for Malaysia after 3 or 4 months of a lot of racial hatred to actually send a very nice signal of diminishing the majority of both parties, or better yet, an upset win for BAWANI KS from Parti Sosialis Malaysia. I think Parti Sosialis Malaysia have a lot of very good people and very good ideas, as they have said. They also represent a different kind of politics. I was hoping that they would be more attractive to the voters instead of these two parties, which is Parti PAS and Parti UMNO, which is already so old and so ingrained in their thoughts and methods and expectations. And of course, this has been successful with the Malay community. But I'm hoping that the non-Malay community may make this a referendum on the idea that we need change. And I think change can be had if certain stern message be imparted to the ruling political party, as well as to personalities like Akmal Saleh. With that, I hope to see some change, because as I have always spoken in my public talks, that change can only begin with us, cannot begin with someone else. It's only with us. We decide to change, and then the country will change. Thank you. Hi everybody. If you would like to own my book and have my signature as well as a personal note from me, please follow the instruction. Thank you.